Alrighty, welcome everybody. Hopefully you had a chance to try this bell ringer on the board. If you did not have a chance yet, I would make sure to pause the video and try it, and then resume it to check your answer. So the problem is, it says Ms. Storant is borrowing $12,000 for 10 years at an annual percentage rate of 12%. What is her monthly payment? So if you remember back to our last lesson, we talked about calculating monthly payments. For some problems, we can use this nice table that we have here if that percentage is on our table. Sometimes, though, it's going to be something like you get an annual percentage rate of 12.274%, and that's not on your table, so then we had to use that formula that we used last time for monthly payments, and we're actually going to see that formula again today. But nicely for this one, that percentage is on our table. So if I'm looking here, it says $12,000 for 10 years at 12%. So I go to 10 years and I go to 12%, which looks like it's on the second half of my table. 12% for 10 years. It looks like that value is going to be $14.35. However, that's just for a $1,000 loan. That's what my table is based on. Since I'm getting a $12,000 loan, I have to take that $14.35 and I have to multiply it by 12. When I do that, $14.35 times 12, it's going to give me $172.28. That would be my monthly payments if I wanted to pay off this $12,000 loan in 10 years. Today we're going to talk some more about some loan calculations and some regression. So in other words, we're going to figure out kind of how much interest I'm going to be paying if I get a loan. So what I'm going to be paying in total for my loan, as well as what the length of my loan is going to be. So just to remember, this is one of our first lessons that we had in this class. If I am banking or I have a savings account at a bank, right, the bank is going to give me some percentage of that money that I have in the bank because they're using my money to loan it out to other people. That percentage is usually pretty small. I know at Gate City, for having a savings account, you only get like 0.02%, which only ends up being like pennies each month that you get from the bank. How the bank makes money, though, is someone like Joe over here. Joe is borrowing money from the bank, and the bank, for using their money, the bank charges Joe 4% interest, so that money is coming into the bank. So the bank may give you some interest, but actually when people borrow money from the bank, when they're using your money, they charge much more, and that's how they get their money. So before taking out a loan, you need a complete picture of what your payment responsibilities will be over the life of the loan. Right? When you get a loan, you're not just paying back what you got the loan for, you're also paying for quite a bit of interest there. So you got to make sure you're aware of that. Online, there's a lot of nice monthly payment calculators. They give you a summary of your loan balance over the lifetime of your loan. So if we see here, it looks like I was getting a loan for $100,000 at 7.5% for 15 years. And it even tells me which day I started on. I started on January of 2010. It says that my monthly payments, which we learned how to calculate last lesson, are $927.01. It says my total interest on the next line paid on the life of my loan is $66,862.22. So what that means is what I'm going to pay over these 15 years to get this one, I'm not just going to pay back my $100,000. I'm actually going to pay $166,682.22, which I'm going to totally pay over 15 years. right? And interest, I'm paying over half of what I actually got my loan for, right? So interest accounts for a large part when you are paying back a loan. So if you look here, a lot of times they're going to break it down by month where your money is going to. During the first couple months of my loan, you notice that my principal paid off is much less than what my interest is paid off. I believe I talked about this in class, right? I have a loan for my house, and every month I look at how much I owe on my house online, and it always seems to be not going down by very much, because right now I'm still in the early stages, and in the early stages most of your money goes towards interest. Not very much goes to principal. That's why sometimes, a lot of times, people will do an extra payment, because that extra payment goes straight to principal instead of paying off that interest every month. As we progress, it starts to it'll start to even out. I know this one only goes through December, but eventually your principal is going to start getting bigger than your interest. Even though you're paying off your principal and your interest, that monthly payment is always going to be right around that $927.01. So again, when you are getting a loan, loans are nice, they're convenient, we have to get loans, but you have to make sure you're careful that your percentage rate isn't too high, and understand that when you're actually paying it back, you're paying back probably what you borrowed and times 1.5 of that. So, or times a half more than that. So you got to be careful. So what we're going to do today is we are going to figure out what our interest is when we are getting a loan. So these are what the examples are going to look like. It says, determine the total interest owed on a 5-year, $10,000 loan at 6% APR. So this one, again, the 6%, if I go back to my formula, or back to that table, 6% is not on there, unfortunately. So that means I got to use my monthly payment formula. And I'm going to show you how that's going to help us to find our interest. So let's just go ahead and use our formula first. So we just plug everything in that we know. It says my monthly payment is equal to my principal, or how much I'm taking out, which is $10,000, times 0.06, my rate over 12, times 1 plus my rate over 12, to the 12 times t power. Well, I'm getting my loan for 5 years, so it's 12 times 5. This is all over. It says 1 plus my rate over 12, 1 plus 0.06 over 12, to the 12 times time, again it's 5 years, minus 1. Notice I plugged in everything exactly how I saw it on the formula. When I'm plugging it into my calculator, again, I'm going to make sure to put my entire numerator in parentheses, entire denominator in parentheses, and again, depending on my calculator, I'm going to put those exponents in parentheses. Once we plug that into your calculator, if you need to, pause the video to make sure that you have time to plug it in. But you should get, for your monthly payments, $193.33. Again, these are our monthly payments. So we, though, want to find our interest. So how much extra I am paying other than just paying back my $10,000 that I loaned. So to find that, we got to figure out, well, if this is my monthly payment, it's $193.33, and I'm having this loan for 5 years, I got to figure out how much I'm actually paying. So I have to multiply my monthly payment by how many months there are in 5 years. Well, I know in 5 years, I just take 5 times 12, that's going to be 60 months. So I'm paying my monthly payment for 60 months, so I'm going to times 60, and that is going to give me $11,599.80. This is my total payment total payments over 10 years. So for 10 years, for getting this loan, I have to pay back $11,599.80. So in order to find the interest I had to pay on that loan, my interest is just how much I paid, which is this $11,599.80. And I just have to subtract how much I actually got the loan for. And I actually got the loan for $10,000. So my interest over the life of the loan is going to be $1,599.80. So again, for borrowing me the money, the bank is going to charge me interest because that's how they make money. And the money that they are going to charge me over the life of the loan with my 6% annual percentage rate is going to be $1,599.80. Hopefully that made some sense to you. What I'd like you to do now is go ahead and try the next problem on your own. Again, it says Hannah is taking out 4.3% interest loan to purchase an $18,000 car. The length of the loan is 8 years. How much will she pay in interest? Well, you first got to find your monthly payments and multiply it by how many months it is to find the total payment. Take that number and minus how much you got your loan for, and that will tell you your interest. So go ahead, do this problem on your own. When you're done, go ahead and load up the next link to the next video.